Welcome to our deep dive on navigating student loan chaos. First, we will outline the core strategies to simplify your payments, reduce interest, and protect your financial future. Next, we will separate federal from private loans to ensure you keep vital protections where they matter. Then, we will cover the Avalanche Repayment Method to accelerate debt payoff. Finally, we will warn you about the cosigner trap and close with a clear action plan and quizzes to test your knowledge. Here is our roadmap. First, we will define the chaos problem. Next, we will clarify federal versus private loans and how to treat each. Then, we will apply the Avalanche Payoff method. After that, we will distinguish consolidation from refinancing. In addition, we will address the serious cosigner risks. Subsequently, we will provide a practical checklist. Finally, we will use diagrams, examples, and quick quizzes to cement your learning. Before we begin, here is a critical disclaimer. This video is educational and does not constitute financial, legal, or tax advice. Because student loan programs, interest rates, servicer policies, and eligibility criteria can change, you should verify details with your servicer and official government resources. For personalized recommendations, consult a fiduciary financial advisor who understands your situation. With that said, let us move forward. To set the stage, let us acknowledge the common chaos. Many borrowers juggle multiple loans, each with different interest rates and due dates. Some federal loans carry rates around 2 to 4%, while private loans can push into double digits like 12%. This spread creates confusion and higher total interest. Therefore, our goal is to reorganize based on loan type and risk. Then apply a payoff strategy that minimizes interest and stress. Now, on to strategy 1. First, separate your loans into federal and private. Federal loans typically have rates in the 2 to 4% range and include crucial protections like income-driven repayment, forbearance, deferment, and potential forgiveness, such as public service loan forgiveness. Because these protections are valuable, you generally should consolidate federal loans via a federal direct consolidation for simplicity, but avoid refinancing them into private loans. Doing so would permanently forfeit federal safeguards. Meanwhile, private loans, often carrying 5 to 12% or more, are prime candidates for refinancing to reduce the rate. Consequently, you should shop multiple lenders, use pre-qualification with soft credit checks, compare APRs, fees, term options, and borrower benefits, and then aim for a rate meaningfully below your current private loan average. This flowchart shows the end-to-end decision path. First, you gather all loans. Next, you split them into federal and private. On the federal side, you consider a direct consolidation to simplify payments while preserving income-driven repayment, forbearance, and forgiveness. Crucially, you avoid refinancing federal loans into private loans. On the private side, you shop refinance offers using soft credit pulls, compare APRs, fees, and terms, and choose the most competitive option consistent with your risk tolerance. After implementing those choices, you proceed to make minimum payments on all loans and apply every extra dollar to the highest annual percentage rate first, using the Avalanche method. Finally, you repeat this process monthly until the debt is eliminated. A warning note highlights the risk of involving a cosigner because it transfers full liability to them. This table illustrates a mixed portfolio. First, notice the federal loans, with rates around 3 to 4%. Those should retain federal protections and can be consolidated federally to simplify payments. Next, the private loans include a 12% account, which becomes the first Avalanche target and a strong candidate for refinancing. Then, the 9.5% and 7.8% loans follow in the payoff order. Additionally, private loans at 6 to 6.5% may still benefit from refinancing if you can secure a lower rate. Meanwhile, a 5.9% private loan might or might not be worth refinancing depending on market offers and fees.
Overall, this snapshot helps you prioritize actions.
Let us implement strategy 2, the Avalanche Payoff. First, you always make minimum payments on all loans to protect your credit history and avoid penalties. Next, you direct every additional dollar toward the loan with the highest interest rate, for example, the 12% private loan. Then, once that loan is eliminated, you roll its freed-up payment into the next highest rate loan. This cascading approach minimizes total interest paid and accelerates payoff time, regardless of individual loan sizes. To ensure consistency, automate the minimums and schedule a separate automatic extra payment to the highest annual percentage rate loan. This timeline translates strategy into execution. Initially, at month 0, you gather all loan details and your credit reports. Shortly after, around month 1, you submit a federal direct consolidation application if appropriate, and you begin shopping private refinance offers using soft credit pulls. By month 3, your chosen refinance funds and autopay begins. From months 4 through 9, you push all extra payments to the 12% loan. Next, from months 10 to 14, you redirect those extra dollars to the 9.5% loan, and then from months 15 to 18 to the 7.8% loan. Subsequently, months 19 to 22 focus on the 6.2% loan, and finally months 23 to 24 on the 5.9% loan. Meanwhile, you maintain IDR recertification for federal loans, keep an emergency fund, and check rates quarterly. Let us compare the two common methods. The Avalanche method directs extra payments to the highest interest rate first. It minimizes total interest and is typically the fastest route to becoming debt-free, though it requires discipline because early wins can be less visible. By contrast, the snowball method targets the smallest balance first to generate quick psychological victories. However, it often results in higher total interest costs. If motivation is your primary hurdle, the snowball may help you stay engaged. Otherwise, the Avalanche is financially superior. Here is a concise 10-step playbook. First, gather all loan details. Second, separate your loans into federal and private categories. Third, use a federal direct consolidation for simplicity, while protecting income-driven repayment and forgiveness. Fourth, for private loans, pre-qualify with several lenders and compare APRs, fees, and terms. Fifth, lock the best offer that fits your budget and risk tolerance. Sixth, enable autopay for every minimum payment. Seventh, apply the Avalanche method by directing all extra dollars to the highest APR loan and rolling payments down as balances are cleared. Eighth, keep a modest emergency fund so you can maintain payments during surprises. Ninth, monitor your credit, interest rates, and any servicer updates at least quarterly. 10th, avoid adding a cosigner and revisit your plan annually to make improvements. Quiz time. The question is, should you refinance federal student loans into a private loan to get a lower rate? Option A says yes, always chase the lowest rate. Option B says no, keep federal loans federal to preserve protections. Option C says only if you plan to use public service loan forgiveness. Option D says only if your cosigner has excellent credit. You may pause the video now to think about the answer. We will discuss the answer in the next section of the video. The correct answer is B. You should keep federal loans federal to preserve protections such as income-driven repayment, forbearance, deferment, and forgiveness options. Refinancing into a private loan would permanently remove those safeguards, even if the rate is lower. Now, let us discuss the cosigner trap. Cosigning assigns full legal responsibility to the cosigner, meaning if the borrower misses payments or defaults, the cosigner is equally liable. Private student loans frequently lack the flexible protections available to federal loans, and they can be difficult to discharge. Therefore, late or missed payments may harm the cosigner's credit and place their assets at risk. While some lenders advertise cosigner release features, those are not guaranteed and typically require a strong record of on-time payments. A safer pathway is to improve your own credit, increase income, and seek a refinance that does not require a cosigner, or adjust repayment terms independently. This pie chart emphasizes that under the Avalanche method, every extra dollar is directed to the single highest rate loan. Minimum payments on other loans are handled separately and are not part of this extra allocation. By concentrating extra funds in this way, you minimize total interest and accelerate payoff of the most expensive debt first. Here is your second quiz. The question is, under the Avalanche method, where do you send your extra payment each month? Option A is the smallest balance loan. Option B is the highest monthly payment loan. Option C is the highest interest rate loan. Option D is to split evenly across all loans. You may pause the video now to think about the answer. We will discuss the answer in the next section of the video. The correct answer is C. You direct extra dollars to the loan with the highest interest rate. This reduces total interest paid and accelerates your overall payoff timeline. To reinforce your plan, here is a markdown checklist you can replicate. First, list every loan with interest rate, balance, and servicer. Next, tag each loan as federal or private. For federal loans, consider a direct consolidation and preserve income-driven repayment and forgiveness. For private loans, shop refinance offers, comparing APRs, fees, and terms. Then, automate minimum payments and schedule a separate extra payment to the highest APR loan. After that, establish a basic emergency fund. Finally, review rates quarterly and adjust your Avalanche order if necessary. And avoid involving cosigners unless the risks are fully understood. Let us consolidate the main ideas. First, separate federal and private loans because they require different strategies. Second, avoid refinancing federal loans into private loans to preserve protections. Third, refinance high-rate private loans when you can secure a meaningfully lower rate. Fourth, use the Avalanche method to minimize interest and shorten repayment time. Fifth, avoid cosigners due to the full liability they assume. Sixth, automate your payments, monitor rates and programs, and review your plan quarterly. As we wrap up, here are actionable next steps. First, create or update your loan list tonight and tag each account as federal or private. Next, open at least 3 pre-qualification checks with private refinance lenders this week. Then, enable autopay for all minimum payments and schedule a separate recurring extra payment for your Avalanche target. Additionally, bookmark official federal resources for ongoing IDR and forgiveness updates. Finally, revisit your plan every quarter to adapt to new rates or program changes. Before you go, if this walkthrough clarified your path, please like the video, share it with someone tackling student loans, and subscribe for more practical guides. In the comments, tell us your top challenge: federal versus private confusion, refinancing decisions, or staying consistent with the Avalanche, and we will create follow-ups to help.